Anxiety is a name given to a type of feeling which is common when we are in some kind of danger, or where we feel unable to cope with a situation. When you were in hospital with COVID, there might have been many things that made you feel very unsafe, such as having difficulties breathing, undergoing sedation, or seeing other people around you become very unwell. There has been a lot of information in the media about COVID, especially in the early stages of the pandemic. For example, media reports often emphasised that COVID was a new, potentially dangerous virus, that medical professionals were still trying to find the best ways to treat it, and that hospitals were overwhelmed with cases. Consequently, some patients have told us they worried about whether they would survive the condition, or whether they would be well cared for in hospital. Several factors also may have made the situation even more difficult to cope with. For example, not being able to see your family, staff wearing personal protective equipment, being very physically unwell, or being confused and disorientated. Therefore, it's perhaps unsurprising that many people who were in hospital with COVID report that they felt anxious at some point during their admission. After discharge, some people might find that reminders of their hospital stay lead to feelings of anxiety, and they might cope by avoiding medical appointments. Some people report that situations such as going to the supermarket lead to worries about re-exposure to COVID and feelings of anxiety. Many people report worries about their future health and whether they might become ill again. These worries might be accompanied by a general sense of unease or dread, and physical symptoms of anxiety, such as shakiness and a fast heart rate. You might also be faced with new life challenges following your discharge, such as financial difficulties or having to return to work, which might lead to worries about your ability to cope and might increase your anxiety further. All of these reactions might be quite normal in the weeks and months following your hospital admission. Why does this happen? When we feel anxious, our body starts to prepare itself to cope with danger. Our heart rate goes up, we start to breathe faster, and adrenaline starts to circulate through our body. We might start to feel sick, shaky, or lightheaded. Our mind might start to worry about worst case scenarios, and we might have an urge to escape. This reaction is known as fight or flight, because all of these changes in our body are designed to help us face up to or run away from danger. This fight or flight response has existed in human beings and animals for a very long time. The symptoms it causes can be very unpleasant, but it's part of our body's way of alerting us to a danger and trying to keep us safe. Sometimes this fight or flight response can be triggered even when there is no immediate danger to us, and it's related to the body's evolutionary response. Some people may find their anxiety is starting to have a significant impact on their life, to the point where it's not workable for them. They might start avoiding all social contacts and withdraw into themselves. They might find that anxiety is starting to get in the way of their social life, their work, or their day-to-day activities. They might feel that their worries feel out of control and are taking up a lot of their time. They might start to recognise that their ways of coping, such as avoiding activities, appointments, or leisure activities, are becoming unhelpful and are restricting their life. What can help your anxiety? First, remember that it's common to experience feelings of anxiety in response to a stressful event. There are several techniques that we can use to tackle the physical symptoms of anxiety. For example, breathing and relaxation techniques can be helpful in reducing our body's fight or flight response. Please see the Where to Get Help section for self-help resources on these techniques. If you find yourself worrying about the future, it can be helpful to consider what you can and cannot control by asking yourself, is what I'm worrying about in my control? If it is, draw up an action plan for how to tackle this worry. Do it there and then, or schedule for a later time. If it's not within your control, problem solve to see if there's anything or anyone that could help. If not, let the worry go. Some people find exercises such as mindfulness meditation are helpful to let go of worries and focus more on the here and now. Again, please see the Where to Get Help section for self-help resources on these techniques. For some people, they can find their worries stick around and that their anxiety starts to become more of a long-term problem. At this point, it can be helpful to seek help to manage your anxiety. Please speak to your GP or see the Where to Get Help section.